So today we are all in the presence of royalty. Jenae Lodewyk, not only Miss Bay County, but now Miss Michigan. Congratulations!
Thank you so much.
This is super exciting. I mean, a local pride. We can count this as like a Bay County win.
Absolutely.
It's very cool when news came across that you had won. Just to see everybody in the community, even if you haven't followed pageants, people are just so proud of you. And man, congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's talk about something not pageant related first. You work for the Pistons?
I do.
How did you end up working for the Pistons?
So once I graduated high school in Bay City, I moved to Detroit to go to Wayne State University. And while I was going to Wayne State, I was trying to find some internships. I was a business major. I actually changed my major along the way to business. And I landed a human resources internship with the Pistons, which was so cool. But of course, right before my internship was about to start, COVID hit.
Wah, wah.
They still honored my internship, though.
Oh, wow.
It was just supposed to be for the summer. But I ended up interning with them in HR for all throughout my junior year. And then when my junior year came to an end, the Pistons came to me and said, we see how you work. We see how much you love this job. Would you be interested in taking a full-time job in equipment? Mm-hmm. And I said, that would be amazing, but I'm still in school. I was about to start my senior year.
Yeah, just cough your lungs out
excuse me.
You want. I can do all sorts of camera magic and cut it out. And then if for whatever reason I forget to do that, everybody's like, oh, she's human. This is great. She's so relatable.
I'm early in the podcast too. I'm already coughing. But I accepted the job my senior year. I was traveling, working, and going to school full time while working for the Pistons. Once I graduated from college, I knew that equipment had really made me the person I am, but I wanted something different. And
when you say equipment, what exactly are you doing?
Oh, equipment is all of the game theater you see our players wearing, the laundry, the making of the uniforms, the driving of the equipment truck, the loading the aircraft to travel with the team, all of the thankless work almost, all the gritty manual labor, that was me.
Oh.
Yes.
That's kind of fun, no?
It was life-changing. It really taught me the importance of getting your hands dirty. But once I graduated from college, I was offered a position in player and family engagement, which focuses on the development of our players off the court and their families.
And is my understanding correct that they actually made that position for you, or was it a new position and they're like, you're the perfect fit? I mean, it was a new position, right?
So we had somebody doing the job, the director of player and family engagement. His name is Michael Lindo. He's one of the greatest people I have ever met.
Awesome.
And he revolutionized what this role is, and it was time. He needed an extra set of hands.
Yeah. And
I had expressed interest to the Pistons that, hey, I put in some time. Yeah. I am graduated from college now. I'm right here if you need me.
And it's also kind of a full circle because your internship dealt with people, and then you moved into a full-time position, but it was equipment and stuff.
Yes.
And now here's an opportunity to get re-involved with the people side of this team.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we even do still work. We work closely with HR, with equipment, because there's paperwork involved and things we need for the family. But yes, that's the role I am in now. I actually recently just celebrated my 4th anniversary with the team, and so I'm excited for year 5.
That's super cool. And also, if you're a Bay County employer and listening to this, it just highlights the importance of having a great internship program, because not only, let's say that you decide not to pursue life with the Pistons. Super cool, though, because it's a great experience. You learned a bunch of stuff. You got paid along the way, like all of those things. But from the employer perspective, like they got to kind of teach you and vet you and like, do we like this girl? Do we not? Like, what is? And you proved yourself, and they were like, this is exactly the kind of person that we want. And that's a win-win for everybody. So Bay County employers, wink, wink.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, internship program.
Invest in your interns.
Yeah, so 4 years with the Pistons. What are you doing like right now? We were messaging back and forth about setting up this interview, and like, it's got to be today because next week's going crazy. What's happening next week?
So coming up is the NBA draft. The Pistons have the 5th pick in the lottery. So this is the time where things start ramping up. And then after the draft, we take off for Summer League in Las Vegas. And then we will get into training camp, and then the season starts, and it never stops.
Wow. So do you get to go to the draft and stuff, or what do you do?
So I personally don't go to the NBA draft. It's in New York. As I like to say, I hold down home base. But once our players are drafted, and I'm just speaking from the past years, what's happened, the league is always evolving and changing, and as is my job. But when the players touch down in Detroit, my boss and I are there.
Awesome.
One of the first people that they see. Welcome to Detroit, and which is really awesome for me as somebody who's from Michigan. Because most of the time, our players aren't coming from in-state. Sometimes they are. I have had a player or a few who are from our great state. But I can say welcome to this state that I love so much.
You're kind of an ambassador in a way.
Okay. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I will take it.
I love that. So you were explaining what exactly your role is with the Pistons, and then I rudely interrupted you. So what is the nuts and bolts of what you do?
So our players, their life is basketball, understandably so. It is my role and my boss's role to develop our players as people off of the court. Basketball is an amazing career and amazing opportunities, but it's also not forever. And we want to give our players the resources to have, a life outside of basketball, but also what comes next for them. Is that real estate or fashion, or what do you want to use your platform for? Something I really focus on in my role is the family aspect of it. Families coming in, they have their family member in this new state for the first time. So I run family events. I am somebody that is constantly communicating with our family members, keeping them in the loop, making them feel welcome, and also sharing with them the history and the culture of our state and the city of Detroit. I
love this so much because when I first started having to travel for work, right away, this is, it's going to be a tough dynamic to balance. How do I do the work I need to do while also do the work with my family I need to do, and how do I make them feel part of it? And I screwed it up the first couple of years. I did not do a good job of it because when I'm in work mode, single-minded work mode, I'm on the battlefield, I'm going, and meanwhile my family's back at home going I wonder what dad's doing. And I screwed that up. And so having you and your boss and have this position, I think would be so supportive of me because thinking NBA players, you're traveling 1,000 times more than I travel, and it's complicated and all of those things. So to have a wingman saying, hey, keeping my family in the loop, that's awesome. I love it.
Absolutely. And I relate to that personally. When I started traveling with the team, or even when I just moved to Detroit, my heart is my family. And my family is in Bay City, Michigan. And that was really hard on me. I'm living out my dream of traveling the country, traveling the world. We've gone overseas, and I'm making the most of my 20s, but it almost feels off because I haven't seen my parents in a few weeks.
Yep.
So I really had to learn that too, on how to manage all that.
Yeah. Did you always want to get into sports?
No, I have always said that I knew I wanted to do something big, but I didn't know what that was. I was always a big dreamer, but I didn't know what path I wanted to take. I did everything in high school. I was, running track, and I was doing pom-pom. I did a year of volleyball. At one time I did color guard. I was president of student council. I was in choir. I was president of the Thespians Club. I was doing speech and debate. I was in honor society. Anything that had a sign-up sheet, I was signing up for to figure out what I wanted to do. And it just so happened that sports has had something for me that was really important, and that was that family aspect.
Yeah, the community part of it, I've got a crew, I've got a group of people. Yeah, I love that. How was your experience at John Glenn?
I loved it.
Mm.
It was hard, but that's just because being a teenager is hard.
Because high school is hard.
Right? Like I would go back and probably do a lot of things differently. But I really enjoyed being at John Glenn because I took advantage of opportunities at John Glenn. And I think when it comes down to it, high school is hard. And I had a hard time in high school. I struggled with a lot of things. I don't think a lot of people saw that.
Yeah.
But I think that I was able to make some people feel seen. My senior year, I was voted homecoming queen of John Glenn. And that was so surreal to me because, senior year, I was going through a lot. I was actually struggling a lot. And that had nothing to do with, John Glenn. It just had to do with being a teenager and having the world on my shoulders is what it felt like. And it was so surreal to have that moment because I was like, people feel seen by me when I'm not even really seen myself.
Did you feel like an imposter?
Ooh, sometimes. I don't think it's right for me to say, I didn't have friends or I didn't fit in. I was friends with everybody. Mm-hmm. If you sat by me, you were my new best friend. But I definitely felt like a teenager trying to figure out where do I go? What's next? How do I go and take a hold of this world out there when I haven't really seen any of it?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the toughest part. One of the toughest parts of high school is like, here you are, living your best life. You want friends, you want a social life, you want to do sports. But then also you have to decide what you want to do after high school for the rest of your life, but your experience is limited. And what am I actually basing that decision on? I'm just kind of guessing. And so I love your approach of trying a bunch of stuff. That's always my encouragement to kids is like, you gotta try it to see if you like it. Otherwise you're just guessing. Like, wouldn't you rather have an experience and be like, I do not like theater. That's terrifying to me. I like singing. I don't like theater. Okay, well, that's a clue where you got to go. So when did you start doing pageants?
So when I graduated when I graduated from college in 2022, I thought, I'm going to do something. So
you're like new to this.
Oh, this was my first time at Miss Michigan.
Oh, wow.
This was my first time. So I'm going to kind of walk through it a little bit.
Yeah.
So in 2022, I did Miss Wayne County because I live in Detroit, and I received first runner-up. And I was like, great, that's awesome. I did it. I tried something new. Now, at the end of competition season, the day before Miss Michigan orientation, they invite all the first runner-ups from all the local pageants that season, and they say, come compete, and the top 2 girls get the last spots to Miss Michigan. Huh. And so I entered into that. And so now at this point, it's 2023 because it's March, and I went to it, and I placed first runner-up. And I didn't make it to Miss Michigan. And I said, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah.
I did it twice. And then as we got into the summer of 2023, Miss Michigan happened. They crowned Miss Michigan 2023. And I kind of felt, you know what, I'm done. I don't really think I need to do this again. But I said, I feel like it would be wrong of me to give this thing a shot and not do Miss Bay County.
Yeah.
Which I grew up with. My director of Miss Bay County, Linda, she's been doing this for 30 years. She asked me to do Miss Bay County 8 years ago and had been asking me every year to do it, and I never did it. And I said, I gotta do it for my hometown one time.
Yeah.
So I did it for my hometown in August 2023. I was crowned your 60th Miss Bay County.
Yay!
And
60.
You're right.
Wow.
And I earned my very first opportunity to go to Miss Michigan.
How like 60th Miss Bay County?
Talk about historic.
That is his. You were telling me about your aunt. Your aunt also was in pageants? Or tell me that.
I wouldn't say in pageants, but when I decided to sign up for Miss Bay County, I was talking to my dad, and my parents are both from Bay City, born and raised, and his older sister had competed for Miss Bay County, and he was sharing me this story of watching his sister compete. She only did it once, I believe, and I see her every summer. She lives out of state, and I go see her every summer, and so her and I were talking about it, and she had told me about when she did Miss Bay County, and there were 20-something girls, and the auditorium was full, and it was just so cool to hear from her, my relative, my aunt, that she was involved with this. And that really got me excited about doing it. But it also got me excited about the idea of how do we bring that back, having the Miss Bay County program be something that is so celebrated by our town.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have a quote in an M Live article that just ran. I'm going to throw your words back at you. You said, I had Miss Bay Counties from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, helping me learn how to walk, speak in an interview, and really just embrace being in the sisterhood. I'm so lucky to have Bay County as my community. I love that part of it because, like, from an outsider who doesn't, I'm not in the scene. I don't know how things work. It seems like a very almost solitary endeavor. It's you on stage. It's you wearing the evening gown. It's you doing the talents. You answering the questions. But what I love about this is like you're really bringing it back. No, there's a sisterhood. There's a community. And you saying, well, I had Miss Bay Counties from 10 or 15 years ago, teaching me how to do this, especially being relatively new, that's got to be an amazing feeling.
Oh my gosh. It just incredible. It gave me the feeling of this is bigger than me. And there are really three things off of that I want to touch on really quick.
Yes, please.
One, I had those Miss Bay Counties and even, a Miss Auburn Midland, which is not a local anymore, helping me with my walk and my interviews. We were at the Wirt Library doing mock interviews. We were at Handy Middle School at 8 p.m. on a school night. And these are working mothers who are giving their time because they believe in me.
Yeah, they don't have a pageant school. This isn't what they do.
No.
They love Miss Bay County. They want to help you.
They believed in me. And because of that, I believed in myself. So that was one thing that was huge. Another thing is that Vinny's Pizzeria in Uptown opened their doors and donated their food, their venue, music for me to have a fundraiser where people from the Bay County community came to my fundraiser, bought a ticket, and that money enabled me to cover my competition wear, cover buying shoes that I could walk on stage in. That was enormous, the way that the Bay County community came to that fundraiser so I could achieve this goal. The third thing is that I am the first Miss Bay County to win Miss Michigan. But there are 4 women who came before me who are from Bay County and won Miss Michigan under another title, who were previously, they were Miss Bay Counties.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. So there were 4 women who came before me who were Miss Bay County at one point, who then went on under different titles to win Miss Michigan. When I was crowned Miss Michigan, those women were backstage.
Really?
There were not all of them, but those women, along with other former forever Miss Michigans, were some of the first people to hug me.
Oh, cool.
Which was so cool. I have chills right now.
Yeah, because it's not, it's one thing to be congratulated by strangers, but it's another thing to be congratulated by people people you have a connection with, your own community celebrating. It hits different.
Right.
Yeah. Why pageants? I mean, you said 2022 you were looking to do something. Why, out of all the things you could have done, did you say, "Oh, I want to give this a shot"?
Now I'll be transparent on what got me into this.
Yeah.
I have this really cool thing called student loan debt. It's so awesome.
Well,
and it
there's
rocks.
one positive. Thanks, student loan debt.
No, and I knew I wanted to go to Wayne State. It's the most diverse public university in the state of Michigan. I wanted to explore that, and so I was okay with it. I said, you know what, that's for older Jenae to figure out.
Yeah.
It's older Jenae now. Let's figure it out. But walking away this weekend from Miss Michigan, I earned $11,850 to use towards my student loans. That will make me practically debt-free by the end of this year.
Awesome.
And not only that, but when I went for Miss Bay County, the Bay County crown alone is $1,500 when you win Miss Bay County. You can also do other scholarships and win other awards to up that number, but that's huge. So that's why I got into it. What has really kept me in it is you have to keep in mind, I grew up with two sisters I'm very close with. Sisterhood is huge to me. I work in a male-dominated space, and the idea of having a hobby outside of work where I was surrounded by other women. I got to go back onto a stage, which I haven't done since high school, and embrace this hyper feminine part of me that hasn't been touched in quite some time is a really cool and fun opportunity.
I love that because anybody who's like been on stage, they did musicals in high school or whatever. Anytime you walk by like Bay County players, there's a little like tinge in your heart that like, oh, maybe I should do just one production.
It never leaves you.
Yeah, and it like yes, it's the performance, and yes, it's the exercising that talent that you might have or that muscle. But for me, it was always the group of people. Like here you are, this group of people. This community of people interacting in a way differently than sports. I played football in high school, loved it. Love the guys that I played with, like brothers. But then when I would go on stage and do the musicals, here's this creative act. Here's this creative act, but you're also very deliberately interacting with other people, and that's a different kind of community. So I love when you say that. Wait, you said the word hyper feminine, and I want to ask you this question. Sometimes people look at pageants and they say, well, that's exploitive, like it's degrading for women and things like that. But here you are saying, well, I love this hyper feminine side of it. I love the sisterhood side of it. What would you say to those who are like, well, pageants are exploitive and it's not good for women to do things like that?
Absolutely. In those conversations, I would say, let's talk about it. Yeah, like I want to hear your point. And
I love that answer, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, and I think it's really awesome to be able to have that conversation because you can explore those feelings of why do we feel like that. For me, when I compete in a competition, I'm not competing against the other girls. I'm competing against myself to be a better version of the Jenae that I was yesterday. I'm competing against that score sheet of, am I giving back to my community? Am I showcasing my personality on stage? What anybody else does on that stage is not my business. What it is my business is to make sure they feel supported. And when they run out of hairspray, I have mine here. And when I need a bobby pin, they have one for me. And so I can see where people come from, where the idea of this competition is against feminism. But to me, feminism is giving women choice. Choice to be feminine or not be feminine, to work or not to work, to whatever and whatever, to do everything, to do nothing at all. Women deserve a choice, and that's what that means to me.
I love everything about your answer. I love the choice part of it. Like part of feminism is allowing women choices. And sometimes I think in the conversations that we have, we remove choices from women, saying, well, you should do this. And that always kind of, it confuses me. But I love your initial answer of let's talk about it. because we kind of live in this culture where we like to not talk about things. We like to kind of proclaim our opinions and, well, you should do this X, Y, and Z, but there's not really a conversation about what I think or what you think or what your experience is or what my experience is. And I think that's where the magic happens, and that's what we miss.
Absolutely. And while we're kind of on this topic, I do want to clarify the competition categories of the Miss America program.
Yeah.
You have private interview, which is your highest scoring sector of competition.
Oh, wow. You
have onstage question. You have fitness, which is not swimsuit. Swimsuit was taken away a few years ago now. So fitness just showcases, your confidence and your personality and how you honor your body. You have your talent or her story. So you can do a traditional talent. You can come up with your own talent, or you can do a her story, which is a public speaking piece on how you are making history as a woman. And that is what I compete in. I present a her story for my talent. And then the last one is evening gown, which showcases your style and your poise and your grace. And also, can you be on stage for a minute smiling and showing, off your outfit?
Yeah. I love the talent portion of you can do a talent, you can also talk. And I love that choice, because if I'm a person competing in something like this and I really want to convey my personality, I might be able to do that with song and dance, or I might be able to do that more effectively by having X amount of minutes to talk to you, and that's powerful to me. We're going to come back to this talent section. Take me back to you just won Miss Bay County. You're now 60th Miss Bay County. And now you have to prep for Miss Michigan. We talked a little bit about like going through interviews and practicing things like that. But where was it held? Over on the west side of the state?
It was at the Fruenthal Center.
Okay, Fruenthal.
In Muskegon.
Okay.
And it has been there forever.
Awesome. So you show up at the venue, then what?
So show up to the venue. They give us roommates for the week. It's randomized.
Kind of fun.
So fun. Tell me how Miss Bay County's roommate is Miss Saginaw County.
Oh, really?
Come on now.
Awesome.
Like, come on now. Not only that, but Miss Saginaw
Neighbors
County.
and roomies.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Miss Saginaw County, her name is Kaylee Carter.
Yeah.
Incredible friend of mine. She was Miss Bay County last year.
Oh, wow.
And because she qualified for Bay County through school, I believe, and she's a Saginaw native. But she placed that Miss Bay County. She placed that Miss Bay County crown on my head. So that was really cool.
Awesome.
And she had been to Miss Michigan before as Miss Bay County. So she really took me under her wing, which was, that sisterhood.
Yeah.
So anyway, we get there, we check in, and it's like, let's go. We were in the community. We were at the Boys and Girls Club. We were on the Aquastar cruise of Muskegon. We were eating at local restaurants. We were at Putter's Creek, which is mini golf and go-karts. We were really in the community in Muskegon.
Awesome.
Which was really cool. But we were also doing rehearsals. We were on the stage practicing on the flow of the show. We also have a Michigan Sweethearts program. And so each of us were brought a young girl with us. My Michigan sweetheart, her name is Olivia.
Shout
out Olivia from she lives over in Beaverton.
Okay, yeah.
And I actually read at her school a few months ago, so love her. And I met her through the Miss Bay County program. She was involved in our Littles program. But man, we had a packed week. So Monday was mostly appearances. Tuesday was a big rehearsal day. Wednesday was interview day. Dun dun. And then Thursday was our preliminary night. Friday was our teen competition night. And then Saturday was finals competition.
Wow. We're gonna do something fun. We're gonna relive a little bit of your interview.
Okay.
Sometimes with guests, I play this fun little game in front of you. You've got a stack of cards.
Uh-oh.
And on each card, there's a little prompt, like the start of a sentence or a question or something like that. And so we're gonna randomly pull these cards.
Okay.
And we're going to see how you do in the hot seat. So how it's going to roll is you're going to start, ladies first, of course. You're going to take that card. You're going to read it out loud. You're going to answer it. Then I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
And then I'll pull my card and we'll switch back and forth.
Okay.
Sound fun?
Sounds great.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm proud I stood up for myself when... Wow, we're starting out hot.
Yeah.
Gosh, my mind goes so many places for this. You know, working in a male-dominated space, I'm one of the very few women to work in basketball operations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I feel supported very well by my coworkers, but our workplace is built by men for men.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get that. That's what I signed up for.
Right.
So there have been times when I've just had to say, like, hey, like, can we think about this from, a woman's perspective a little bit? Hey, I'm going to need a bathroom here at this arena. I have really made my voice heard, but I'm also so incredibly lucky to have a workspace like the Detroit Pistons that listens to my voice.
I love that you explain it that way because sometimes we look at standing up for myself as very much you are my enemy.
You against me.
Yeah, you against me. I have to stand up for myself. I have to fight for myself against you. When sometimes it's not really that. I mean, like if you're in a relationship with somebody that you love, sometimes you got to stand up for yourself and say, hey, you know what? This really hurt me. Or when you said this, I thought this, and we need to talk about that. Like that's another form of standing up for yourself. Obviously, you love this person. You're in a relationship with them. But sometimes those situations can be the hardest to stand up for yourself. And so it sounds like you're in a great situation. But at the same time, you got to say, hey, I'm going to need a bathroom at that stop.
Right. Well, and I feel empowered to use my voice then because I think especially being so young, I started with the Pistons when I was 20 years old.
Yeah. Yep.
And you're like, do I want to make my voice heard? They want to hear my voice. You know, they want to support me. And so using my voice, it's beneficial for everyone.
A time that I stood up for myself. What do I want to say on air?
Right.
I'm gonna break the rules a little bit, but I'm gonna stay on the question topic. I kind of grew up with the impression that like rocking the boat was wrong. That you had to make everybody happy. Now, a lot of that was probably self-inflicted. Some of it, a little bit of the environment that I grew up in. And so for a long time, I did not really value like standing up for myself or something that I believed, or what I valued was almost well, if I just eat it, that's honorable because you're making that person happy, you're giving them what they need, You're sometimes even like making their life better in some way. And that is more honorable than in this moment, like standing up for myself and saying, well, this is what I need, or this is what I believe. And just kind of recently, I'm starting to, especially when it comes to community issues, starting to see more value in saying, hey, I have this thought and you may not agree with it, but that's important too. And so without getting specific about it, I think recently I'm starting to see the benefit of talking about things that might be a little bit thorny. Like this work really started because there's so much value in teaching communities about why they are awesome.
Yes.
Why people are awesome, why this is a great place to live, all of those other things. But I think we also have to be vocal about like, hey, we love ourselves so much that we need to address this.
That I'm willing.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's really the skill or the important part of that because in communities it can get really gross.
Yeah.
You know, people love to fight, like we love to argue, and you know, to a certain extent that's important. But I think if we come from it from the perspective of we love each other as a community so much that we can't continue to allow this to happen.
Yes.
Or this is a great start, but here are 3 things that I think we need to do in order to make it even better. So I think that kind of moment of realizing, okay, I can step out a little bit more and say something that somebody might not agree with. And that is so important.
Yes. So
I love that. Here's my card. I still feel like I need to impress ... This is going to sound probably very selfish. But I hopefully I explain it in a way that shows that it's not. I feel like I have to impress myself. Like whether it's working or like my home life or whatever it is, I feel like I have to prove to myself that I'm capable of doing it. Like here's this really impossible task. I got to do it because I got to show myself that I'm worthy of it. And how I show my self-worth is by accomplishing something. And I'm gonna say for the folks at home, that's a really that is important. Proving yourself to yourself, absolutely important. It's also a really slippery slope because I'm going to tell you from experience, like once you accomplish that thing, there's a bigger thing down the road and a bigger thing down the road and a bigger thing down the road, and there's always more to do. And so if you're really deriving your self-worth from what you accomplish, take it from somebody, like you're never going to get there.
Yeah.
You're never going to be worthy. You're never going to be good enough.
It'll never be enough.
Yeah. You got to start twisting that perspective around and say, well, there's other forms of discovery of self-worth. You just inherently are worthy. That's 1,000 times healthier way to go about it.
Yeah.
Who are you still trying to impress?
Man, I'm just thinking about myself. I really agree with you on that. I think in my 20s, I really learned how to let that go. And not to bandwagon on what you just said, but I relate to it so much because coming from Bay City, I hate to say this, but you know, the experience I had in high school where I was doing everything and I was doing pretty well. You know, I was president of this and homecoming queen and all that jazz. It's kind of big fish in a small pond. And then I moved to Detroit. Talk about guppy in the ocean.
There's so many people here.
Yes. And then I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know how to take the world by storm or, you know, even find my way. But I think back to this past week of competing for Miss Michigan. And I went into it knowing that I'm everything that I need to be. And I was telling my sisters how if I don't walk away as Miss Michigan, that's okay. If I don't win the crown, that's fine. Because I am already so proud of the person that I am and the way that I've represented my community. Now, what I did want, though, was to win the week, to win the experience of going to Miss Michigan. And that's what I was going to do, is take it all in and actually become friends with these girls and have that. And in doing that, it took the pressure off. I need to impress my director, who's been doing this for 30 years, my parents, my sisters, everybody in the audience, the judges. I didn't need that because my focus was to have a good time.
That perspective is so great, because you could go and win but still lose.
Yes.
Because that was the most miserable week of your life.
And women talk about it.
Yeah. And I've talked to a few of them, and they were like, I did not handle it well. I cried every day, puked every day, was nervous every day, sobbed every day. A husband had to come in and be like, hey, you got to, like, I love you, honey, but you got to get it together. Like, I've heard that a lot from folks.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this? So you're on stage saying, here I am, this is who I am, here's my story, this is what I look like, and you're answering these questions in interviews, and all of this is in front of judges. Do you ever feel like they're judging you? Like when you get a low score, or when something doesn't quite go right, like do you feel like it's not Miss Bay County, it's not, you as a competitor, but it's like Jenae.
Like it's personal?
Like it's personal.
You know what's funny is, so I did Wayne County, I did the sweepstakes pageant, and I got first runner-up at both of those. And afterwards, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And so, no, I don't think I take it personal, because I can see, I really needed to improve here.
Yeah.
This wasn't the best thing. And it wasn't me. I wasn't the issue.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I was presenting all that I had to offer. And for all of those competitions, for Wayne County, for sweepstakes, for even Miss Bay County, which I did win, something that I felt wasn't fully me is that for my talent, I sang. Now I love to sing. And if you know the Lodewyk sisters, my sisters and I, we never stop singing. Our poor parents. And I love to sing, but I also know that I feel most comfortable when I'm speaking. And although I did well at all those other competitions, it didn't feel like I was giving the full Jenae. And so when I went to the Miss Michigan competition this past week, I knew that I wanted to speak. I wanted to do her story for my talent. And I think at first everyone was like, oh my gosh. Even the Miss Bay County board, who has been so supportive, of me, they were like, Jenae, we think you should sing. And then I spoke for them for the first time on the Handy Middle School stage. And they said, yes, this is it, But no, I to take it back to the question you originally asked, no, I don't feel it as a personal attack, because I'm also doing this to improve myself.
Yeah.
It's not all just for fun. I do want to become a better public speaker. I want to be able to brand myself. I want to be able to gain something from this, and that just helps me get there.
Love it. Pull another card from me, Paul.
The last time I let my anger get the best of me.
Skip that one.
Oh, I was going to say, wow.
Yeah.
All right. I owe a thank you to. There are so many thank yous. But I have to give this one to my parents and to my sisters.
Why?
They are so unconditionally supportive, to the point where they are not afraid, to pose difficult scenarios to me to prepare me for everything. My mother, Sarah Lodewyk. I mean, there are no words. It's just love. She has given everything of herself to my sisters and I to give us the life that we have. And my dad is so supportive every step of the way as well. I let him mock interview me a few times. Like, I don't think the judges are going to ask this many hunting and fishing questions, Dad, but thank you.
You never know. They might.
Yeah, Sarah and Wade Lodewyk are my parents. And then my sisters also, you know, they play the angel and the devil on my shoulder of, you know, be prepared to win this. You could win this. Be prepared to lose this. You know, they are really make sure that I'm humble and that I'm gracious and that I'm Jenae every step of the way. And they know me better than anybody else on this planet does. They know me better than I know myself some days.
Amazing.
So it has to be to my family, to mom, dad, Alicia, and Kendra.
I want to thank my family as well. Like professionally, it's been a really intense it's 12 years or so. I used to be a teacher in Bay City, and then I started working for my brother and had to hack my way through a lot of things. And the entire time, I haven't felt like I haven't felt doubted. I haven't felt like, because I tend to be really ridiculous about it. Like I work really long hours. I wake up at 4 so that I can get to the office at 4:30 and work the next 13 hours and then get home at like a respectable time.
Right.
But that's too long. Like that's too much work. Like doing too much stuff. But my family is so patient. I got 3 daughters at home. Lovely wife, in-laws who watch our kids, my own parents who are amazing, and they give me this wide playground to like do my thing and hack it out. And I promise you, family, sooner or later I'm gonna pay you back. Like I don't know when that's gonna happen,
right?
But it's gonna be worth it. And I'm looking forward to like thanking them in a very like concrete way, to be able to show them like this amount of time has been worth it.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned the talent portion.
Yes.
Her story.
Yes.
Could you give us her story right now?
Wow. Oh, it would sound crazy, I think, on the podcast a little bit.
But I can edit it out if it sounds crazy.
All right.
But I think it'll sound cool.
Okay. I usually do this while standing and moving around. So this is the first time I've ever done it sitting down. Okay, ready?
New experiences are great experiences.
Here we go. Yep. I'm also rusty. I haven't practiced this. So this is really what you're going to get. Ready? Here we go. Game uniforms, practice loops, two-way bags, compression sets. We're 75 games into an 82-game NBA season, and our team is about to leave for New York City. I am checking and double checking our equipment bags because I cannot get this wrong. I'm the assistant equipment manager of the Detroit Pistons, and I was not supposed to be on this trip. But this morning, I received a text from my boss that would forever change my life. Pack your bags. Our head equipment manager had fallen sick, and so I, for the first time in my career, was being called up to lead equipment for the team on the road. Over the next day, I drove the equipment truck. I loaded the aircraft. I managed the gear. I prepped the locker room. In the league, I was just one of 3 women to be an assistant equipment manager. At 21 years old, I was the youngest woman to be doing this job. But now, in a league with a 75-year history where we have yet to see a female head equipment manager, I successfully led my team on the road. That night, as we stepped onto the court with our athletes in Brooklyn, we were surrounded by the lights, cheers, chaos of a basketball arena. But for me, I could only see the faces of the young girls in the crowd. And I thought to myself, I may have been one of the first, but I will not be the last.
That's so great. That's so great. I love that so much. That's no offense to people who sing, because I love you.
Wait, do you want me to sing now?
Well, maybe.
No.
But you're exactly right in that, like, that says something about you and yourself that you couldn't sing.
You're right. You wouldn't know that about me if I was singing. And that's also a huge part of me. My years working in equipment was a formative part of my life. It's part of what makes me Jenae.
Mm. So you go through these 3 days of competition, 4 days-ish?
3 days. So it's a week, but they space it out to give us some time in between. So Wednesday we do an interview. Thursday we do preliminary, which is a full competition. You do every single category except interview, because they already did that. So the onstage question, the fitness, the talent, the evening gown, you do it all. And then on Saturday, they bring everybody out and they cut to top 10, and then they have top 10 do it again.
Oh, wow.
And now also in that, after preliminary night, they do announce preliminary awards. So highest evening gown score, highest talent score, and highest onstage question score, in which I received highest onstage question for preliminary night.
Heck yes, you did.
Thank you. And then on finals night, they announce some other scholarships that you can apply for through essays or videos or voted on by other people. And on finals night, I walked away with Miss Congeniality.
Aww.
Which was voted on by the other contestants.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was the biggest honor that I walked away with last week. I also received the Legacy Award, which was a video I submitted about what I want my legacy to be, whether or not I ever become Miss Michigan. And that is selected by a panel of former Miss Michigans.
Oh, cool.
And then the last one is the Pamela Eldridge Community Health Award, which is how I support special needs and people with disabilities in our community.
Beautiful. So they bring you out on stage.
Yes, they do.
Walk me through like the 10 minutes before they announce your name.
So right before we had awards, we did evening gown, and all the other categories are before intermission. And then I believe after we did evening gown, and of course my dress broke.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and
you see that stuff in movies.
Right. And I think everybody backstage just went, and I said, if we could, we have some helpers backstage and volunteers that really save our lives. And I said, if we could I get a pair of scissors? We cut it off, and I'm not going to tell you how it broke, but let's just say a lot of beading came off. You can see it in photos, but I'm not going to tell you so you don't look for it.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was just, I'm sure if I was full of nerves in that moment, it might have sent me over, but I was just like,
yeah,
I just competed for Miss Michigan. Nothing
it
can
is what
touch
it
me now.
is. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So my dress broke, and it was full of lots of hugging. You know, everything up to that point is like, go, 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 go.
Yeah.
Backstage, it was a great production. They kept us moving. But lots of hugging and lots of moments of, I'm just so glad we got to do it with you. And then also moments of, when's our cue again? Because keep in mind, we just learned this morning at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, I'm going to go when you go. Okay. And you know, when we're backstage and the girl in front of you, you're putting out her dress to make sure she looks gorgeous when she goes out. Yeah. So many big emotions.
That's one of the things that I think about when I think about pageants. Like, I think about the crown and I think about the events and things. But then I think about the women on stage hugging.
Yeah.
It seems like that itself is almost like a ritual. Somebody gets crowned, somebody wins an award, everybody hugs and shows love. Mm-hmm. And I love that.
Yeah.
So when you were announced as Miss Michigan, What's going through your head?
You can see me. I'm holding on to Kendall, who earned first runner-up. And the first thing that happens, you can kind of see my eyes close, and I just like close in on her. And it was just, oh my gosh, it's real. And I took a step back, and Kendall looks at me, and I just said, go take your moment. Because I think a lot of times our first runner-ups are kind of shuffled away.
Yeah.
But we just went through this week together. It's a hard week. And every girl on that stage has earned every moment on that stage. And so I said, go take your moment. And I actually kind of go deadpan. It's kind of like when I'm at work and I know that, and a game is going on and I'm on the court and I know that there's a camera on me somewhere. And I stepped to the side because I was like, Kendall needs her moment. And as this is going, I'm just feeling every emotion of this is real. And Kendall turns back to me and comes back and hugs me. And I just collapse because it's real at that point. And then Maya, our Miss Michigan 2023, comes over. And you can't hear it, thank God. But when she hugs me, I am screaming. I am just,
yeah.
It was just the catharsis of emotions. And I think if you read my lips, you can, hear me kind of mouthing like, it's a dream. It's a dream.
Yeah.
And then they start playing Walking on Sunshine. I'm like, oh, I'm dancing. You can see me. I start dancing. And what's funny is that a few days later on Monday, I go to work. And my boss came to the competition.
Cool.
And so I kind of got to talk to him, relive it through his eyes. And he was saying how he was a nervous mess. But when I started dancing, he kind of he had in his hand and went, oh my gosh, that is so Jenae.
Yeah, because up to that point, it's very formal and like composed, and you have to like be restrained in a certain way. But so I can totally picture like, here's my chance to scream and dance.
Right. And what the coolest part is that when you watch the video, don't pay attention to me. Look at my friends in the background. That is the coolest part for me. One, they just voted me Miss Congeniality.
Yeah.
And then two, they're having bigger reactions than I am about the fact that I just was crowned Miss Michigan.
Very cool. The sisterhood.
The sisterhood.
You mentioned that earlier that you do this to improve yourself.
Yeah.
In what ways has this improved you?
I think it has really helped me become more concise in my public speaking. And I know it's ironic to say that when you and I have been sitting here for how long now? We're just bouncing off.
58 minutes.
We don't need to check the time.
Yeah.
But I think my public speaking style is, you want the information, I'll give you everything that's inside my head. And I think it has helped me wrap that up a little because our private interviews are only 10 minutes. So that's been really cool. It has helped me, and I'm not going to downplay this because this is a skill. It has really helped me get myself together in a short amount of time. Oh, I need to go do an interview? Hair, makeup, outfit, boom. Oh, you want me to go do this thing that I had no idea and wasn't prepared for? I have an extra outfit in my car. Just learning how to do my makeup. Which
is so important. I love that you said it's a skill because like you're going to this interview, you're doing this thing, whatever. If you're spending the first hour before that, throwing every outfit out the window, doing and redoing makeup, like being really frustrated. Now you're going into that space with an hour of frustration and anger and disappointment and things like that. When really you should be like game face, like I'm here right now with you. Right. Yeah.
And growing up, I didn't wear a lot of makeup. I was big on mascara and my eyebrows. But now even just getting myself camera ready is huge, especially I work in sports and entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say I'm not like an ambassador for Bay County, but I just want to say how proud of you we are. Again, seeing the reaction from folks on the internet last week after you were announced as the new Miss Michigan. It was really cool to see. I think we as a community have so much to be proud of, and I think what's important is that we allow ourselves to be proud of those things in really public ways. We cheer each other on. We say, "Oh my gosh, Jenae, I'm so proud of. I knew her when she was just a freshman at Glenn," or whatever. Like we have to be able to express ourselves. We got to express those things and cheer each other on. So, man, so proud of you. What's next for you as Miss Michigan?
So
where do you go from here?
My service initiative as Miss Michigan is Women in the Workplace, advocating for women working in male-dominated industries. So I'm going to be a Miss Michigan that works. So I am so lucky to have both Miss Michigan and the Detroit Pistons supporting me in having appearances and also working my job with basketball operations. Up next, I am going to go to Miss Minnesota and Miss Wisconsin this weekend.
Cool.
And I am going to have the best road trip buddy. It's going to be Maya, who is Miss Michigan 2023.
Yeah, fun.
So that's going to be awesome. And then I'm going to spend this year between work and being Miss Michigan preparing for Miss America 2025.
Okay. Well, we'll have to have a second interview when you win.
Okay. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Don't jinx that.
Yeah, and not jinxing it. Man, but you're going to have 103,000 people in Bay County, and then, of course, the rest of the state of Michigan cheering you on. So,
thank you.
Jenae, thank you so much for this conversation. Wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
Woo-hoo! Take those headphones off. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Let me hit and